Hello, my friend. Welcome. Tonight's story is gentle and simple, the kind that does not ask anything from you. It is less a plot than a place to stand quietly for a while. An experience more than an explanation. I will move slowly toward a shoreline that seems far away at first, far not because of distance, but because it is easy to forget it exists when life grows loud and crowded and insistent. This is a story about arriving, not arriving with urgency. Not arriving with answers. Not arriving with a plan folded neatly in your pocket. Just arriving in a way that lets my body loosen and my mind soften. I will enter a small coastal world with warm lantern light and salt air, where time moves without being pushed. And where calm is not something I chase or earn, it will be called the hidden calm of a faraway shore. And as I go there, step by quiet step, I may notice something simple. The calm I have been seeking is not fragile. It does not shatter when touched. It does not disappear when I turn my back. It is patient. It has been waiting. Before I step into that coastal world, I let the pace slow down right here, exactly where I am. I don't need to rearrange anything or fix anything first. I don't need to earn rest by finishing a thought, or answering a message, or holding myself in readiness. I just let this moment be enough to hold me. I notice what is supporting me. The steady surface beneath my body. The quiet pressure where I meet it, at my back, my hips, my shoulders, the backs of my legs. If there is a blanket, I feel its gentle weight. If there is fabric against my skin, I notice the simple truth of it, soft, ordinary, present. And if my mind tries to wander into lists and plans, I don't argue with it. I simply return to what I can feel. I listen for the smallest sounds. A distant hum. The hush of a room. The quiet movement of air. I let those sounds be part of the night instead of interruptions. They can pass by like slow clouds, not needing my attention for long. Nothing here is urgent. Nothing here is pulling me forward. Then I notice my breathing. I don't force it to be deeper. I don't demand it to be calm. I just observe it the way someone watches the tide from a safe place on shore. Inhale, soft and natural. Exhale, gentle and unhurried. Each breath is a small wave that already knows what to do next. On the exhale, I imagine something unclipping. Not dramatically, not all at once, just a small release. The jaw loosens a little. The tongue rests. The space behind my eyes softens. The shoulders drop a fraction, as if they are remembering they do not have to hold the whole day up on their own. I let my hands become heavier. I let my fingers uncurl if they want to. I let my feet rest as they are, not pointed toward the next task, not braced for movement. I give myself permission to be still without explaining why. For now, there is time for everything later. I take another breath in, and I imagine it arriving like cool air through an open window. Clean. Simple. Nothing complicated in it. I breathe out, and I let the out-breath be a quiet signal. I am allowed to stop trying for a little while. If thoughts come, I let them come. If a memory drifts up, I let it drift. If my mind offers a question, what about tomorrow? What about that conversation? What about the thing I forgot? I don't chase it down the hallway. I let it sit gently at the edge of my awareness, like a coat hung on a hook. I can return to it later. Tonight I am practicing a softer kind of attention. I imagine the world I am about to enter already waiting, not impatient, not demanding. A place that doesn't require me to be impressive. A place that doesn't need me to narrate my own life. A place where calm isn't a prize, but a climate. I let the lights in my mind dim a little, as if a room is settling into evening. Corners grow softer. The sharp outlines of the day blur into something less important. I feel my breath continue, steady and faithful. Inhale, and the chest rises. Exhale, and it falls. Like a lantern flame in a sheltered glass, it keeps its gentle shape, and when I feel ready, without rushing toward readiness, without forcing it, I allow the beginning to arrive. Not with a sudden step, but with the quiet sense of turning toward a path I can follow in the dark. I don't need to see far ahead. I only need to take the next small, easy movement, so I begin, slowly, with a breath that feels like permission. And I let the story open its door. It is late summer when I arrive, the kind of season that keeps a little warmth stored inside wood and stone, even when evening begins to cool the air. The year doesn't feel important, as if this corner of the coast has loosened its grip on calendars, but I can tell the season by the smell: sun on dry boards, a faint resin from evergreens, and the clean edge of salt that rides in on the wind like a quiet promise. I am on the northern edge of the Pacific coast, in a town that sits gently between forest and sea. Its name is Greyhaven Cove. The first thing I notice is the sky. It is pale and wide, with clouds stretched thin like brushed cotton, drifting slowly as if they have all the time in the world. The light isn't harsh. It doesn't glare. It settles over everything in a patient way, softening corners, giving rooftops and fences a mild gold at their edges. And then there is the ocean. It is not bright blue here. It is silver gray, reflective, calm, changing its tone with every small shift of cloud and sun. The sound of it is constant but never loud, more like breathing than noise, an inhale as water gathers itself, an exhale as it lets go onto shore. The air tastes faintly of salt and kelp and clean wind, and when I take a breath in, it feels cooler than the day behind me, as if the sea is offering a calm hand to the forehead. Behind the town, evergreen trees rise in dense layers. Their needles are dark and glossy, and the air near them smells green and shaded, like damp bark and soft earth that has never been forced to hurry. The forest doesn't stand back like scenery. It leans close, protective and steady, as if the town has been built with the tree's quiet permission. The path from the small ferry dock curves instead of cutting straight lines. Even the layout seems to prefer gentleness over speed. The ground is packed firm underfoot, with smooth stones pressed into it in places, and I find myself walking more slowly without deciding to. My body reads the message in the air. There is no need to rush here. As I step into Greyhaven Cove, I notice that it feels lived in, not polished. Not staged. Real. Buildings are weathered in a way that suggests patience rather than neglect. Paint softened by sun and salt, porch railings worn smooth where hands have rested, windows that catch the last light and hold it for a moment longer than expected. There are small gardens in uneven boxes, and wind chimes that sound only when the breeze feels like it. Lantern posts line the main walkway at modest intervals, not bright enough to command attention. Only bright enough to guide. Some of the lanterns are already lit, even though the sky still holds daylight. Their glow is warm and honeyed, and when I pass one, I feel the tiniest shift inside my chest, like a knot loosening without being untied. I hear gulls, but they don't scream the way I'm used to. Their calls are brief, almost conversational, as if even they have learned the town's preference for quiet. Somewhere farther down the shore, I hear a buoy bell ring once, low and rounded, and then the sound fades back into the ocean's steady hush. There is a small sense of arrival that doesn't come from a sign or a landmark, but from the way the air changes. The wind here doesn't shove. It moves around me. It touches my cheeks and then passes on, carrying the sea's coolness and the forest's calm together in one breath. I realize I have been holding myself slightly tense, as if bracing for the next thing, and I let that bracing soften. Just a little. Just enough to feel the difference. Greyhaven Cove sits at that gentle hour between day and night when everything becomes forgiving. Shadows lengthen but do not threaten. Light fades but does not disappear all at once. I can see the town settling into evening the way a room settles when someone lowers their voice. Doors close softly. A curtain moves. A porch light clicks on. A dog shifts in a patch of shade and sighs as if it has nowhere else it needs to be, and as I walk deeper into this small coastal world, I understand something simple, something my body seems to recognize before my mind does. Here, time is not a weapon. Here, I can arrive without explaining myself. By the time my steps carry me fully into Greyhaven Cove, I begin to notice the rhythm that holds the town together. It is not announced. There is no sign explaining it. It simply hums beneath everything, like the steady current under the surface of the sea. Morning here begins with light rather than alarms. I see it in the way curtains are tied back early. In the way windows are open just enough to let the ocean air drift inside. No one seems to burst into the day. Doors open gradually. Footsteps land unhurried on wooden porches. The town wakes the way a body stretches after rest, without apology for its pace. A small cafe near the center path sets out a chalkboard sign each morning. The handwriting is rounded and careful, listing fresh bread, warm tea, simple soup for later. The door opens and closes with a soft bell that never startles. I pass by and catch the scent of yeast and coffee mingling with salt air, and it feels less like commerce and more like nourishment being quietly offered. Not far from there, a fisherman sits on a low bench in front of a weathered shop, mending his nets. His hands move with patient familiarity. He doesn't rush the knots. He doesn't frown at them. The net rests across his knees like fabric instead of equipment, and he leans into the work as if it steadies him as much as it prepares him. When someone walks by, he nods once. The nod is enough. I notice someone sweeping a porch with slow, even strokes. The broom moves in gentle arcs, gathering dust without irritation. The sound it makes against wood is rhythmic and quiet. A soft brushing that blends with the ocean's breathing. No one seems to sweep to impress anyone else. They sweep because the porch exists, and it deserves to be cared for. There are unspoken social rules here, and I feel them without being told. When I pass someone on the path, we exchange a small smile or a simple nod. No one asks where I have come from in the first moment. No one demands my story. Silence is not awkward, it is allowed to stretch between two people like a shared blanket. Words arrive only if they are needed. I sense that the town understands something about visitors like me. That many arrive carrying something heavy, even if they never name it. The heaviness is not interrogated. It is simply accommodated. Chairs are placed facing the water, as if offering a place to set down invisible burdens. Benches are spaced far enough apart that privacy is respected, but close enough that no one feels abandoned. There is no performative cheerfulness here. No exaggerated welcome. Instead, there is a steady honesty in the way people move. A shopkeeper arranges jars in a window without looking around to see who is watching. A pair of neighbors speak quietly about the weather, then stand side by side without continuing the conversation, content in shared presence. I begin to feel the permission woven into these small routines. I do not have to hurry here. No one measures my productivity. No one expects me to be sharp or clever or efficient. If I linger near the cafe door just to breathe in the warm air, no one taps a watch. If I sit on a bench longer than necessary, the bench does not judge me. It simply holds my weight and waits. Even the layout of the town reinforces this gentle ethic. Paths curve rather than cut directly across. Fences are low and simple, more suggestion than barrier. Gardens are tended but not manicured to perfection. The message is quiet but clear. Life is something to participate in, not to conquer. As I move through the afternoon, I notice how easily my shoulders drop when I realize I am not being observed for performance. My hands hang loosely at my sides. My breath deepens without effort. It is as if the town itself has decided that I am allowed to exist without explanation, and within this ordinary life, this bread baking, net mending, porch sweeping life, I sense something profoundly steady. Calm is not a special event here. It is not scheduled or sold. It is embedded in the way the day unfolds, in the way people look up from their tasks and then return to them without resentment. Greyhaven Cove does not promise transformation. It offers something quieter. It offers the simple relief of not being rushed. As I spend more time in Greyhaven Cove, the town begins to reveal its people to me, not all at once, and not with spectacle, but in the same gradual way the tide reveals the shape of the shore. I do not meet everyone. I am not meant to. The safety of this place rests partly in its smallness. A few steady faces are enough. The first person I truly speak with is Mara Collins, the woman who guides arrivals from the small ferry dock. I see her before she sees me, standing with her hands tucked into the pockets of a faded jacket that smells faintly of cedar and sea air. Her posture is practical, grounded. When the ferry eases in and ropes are tied, she steps forward without hurry. "You made it," she says to me, her voice low and even. There is no dramatic welcome, no speech about new beginnings. Just those two words, offered as fact rather than ceremony. I find that I appreciate that. It feels solid. Real. She gives simple directions: where the footpath curves, which cabin is open, where to find fresh water if I need it. Her sentences are short, but never cold. She does not overwhelm me with information. She trusts that I will find my rhythm. Later, I notice Daniel Brooks, who sits each morning on a low bench facing the water. I do not know at first if he lives here permanently or if he, like me, has arrived for a while. He is not old, but there is something seasoned in the way he sits, as if he has practiced stillness long enough for it to feel natural. His hands rest loosely on his knees. His gaze remains on the horizon without strain. When I pass him the first time, he nods once. I nod back. The exchange is enough. Over the next few days, our quiet acknowledgments become familiar. He does not try to draw me into conversation, and I am grateful for that. His presence feels like an anchor placed gently into the sand, firm, but not heavy. Then there is Lena Hart, who runs the cafe near the edge of town. The bell above her door rings softly when I enter, and she looks up with a measured warmth. Her movements are deliberate. She places cups down carefully, as if the sound they make against wood matters. The aroma of bread and tea surrounds her like a soft halo. What sounds good? She asks, not in a way that demands an answer, but in a way that offers space. Sometimes I tell her. Sometimes I shake my head and let her decide. She seems to sense what fits the day. A darker tea when the fog rolls in. Something lighter when the sun lingers longer. She remembers my name after hearing it once, but she does not make a performance of it. She simply uses it, gently, as if it has always belonged in the room. And then there is Ethan Walker, the storyteller whose voice once introduced this place to me. Here, in the town itself, he is not performing. He does not stand on stages or gather crowds. He helps stack chairs in the open hall. He carries small crates from the ferry when supplies arrive. He walks the forest paths with his hands clasped loosely behind his back. Speaking only when someone joins him. When he does speak, his voice remains low, almost reverent, as if he respects the air around him too much to disturb it. I hear him once explaining to a small group that calm is not something you manufacture. It's something you uncover, he says quietly. It's already there. None of these people carry the story with grand gestures. There are no dramatic confessions, no sudden revelations. They carry it with steadiness, with consistency, with the quiet reliability of showing up each morning in the same place, at roughly the same time, doing what needs to be done without resentment. As I move among them, I begin to understand that the safety I feel here does not come from isolation. It comes from this gentle web of presence. Mara at the dock, Daniel at the water's edge, Lena behind the cafe counter, Ethan along the forest path. They do not ask me to change, they simply remain, and in their remaining, something in me begins to settle, as if I am being held not by one person, but by the steady pattern of all of them together. Even here, in Greyhaven Cove, I begin to understand that calm is not the same thing as perfection. The town is peaceful, yes, but not because nothing ever goes wrong. Not because the sea is always gentle or the sky always clear. The peace feels earned, built slowly from an honest acceptance of limits. Supplies arrive by ferry only a few times each week. I notice how carefully boxes are unloaded, how nothing is wasted, how lists are checked without panic. When something is delayed because the weather shifts, no one raises their voice at the sky. They adjust. They make do. There is an understanding woven into daily life. The world cannot be controlled into obedience. The ocean itself reminds everyone of that. Some mornings it lies flat and silver, smooth as brushed metal. Other days, even in late summer, a stronger wind moves across it, and the waves gather themselves into firmer shapes. I see the fishermen watch the horizon before heading out, not with fear, but with respect. They know the sea can be generous, and they know it can be indifferent. There is humility in that knowledge. Homes here are modest. Wood-paneled walls, small windows, sturdy roofs. I notice hooks near every door where warm layers hang ready, even when the air feels mild. Boots lined neatly beside thresholds. Lanterns kept filled. These are not signs of worry, they are signs of preparation. A quiet acknowledgement that storms can come, and that being ready is wiser than pretending they will not. As I walk the paths, I sense something unspoken beneath the surface of conversation. Many who arrive here do not do so because their lives elsewhere were effortless. They come because something in the outside world asked too much for too long. The pace, the noise, the endless measuring of worth. No one announces this aloud. There are no dramatic confessions on the main walkway. But I see it in small ways, in the way someone exhales deeply when they first sit on a bench facing the water, as if they have been holding their breath for months. In the way hands unclench slowly, fingers relaxing against the grain of wood. In the way shoulders lower when a person realizes that no one is evaluating them. I recognize it in myself. There is a tiredness I carried here without fully admitting it. A habit of bracing. A quiet expectation that something will demand my attention at any moment. In Greyhaven Cove, that expectation begins to soften, not because the world has become harmless, but because this place does not pretend to be more than it is. Calm, I am learning, is not the absence of hardship, it is the presence of steadiness. When a sudden rain passes through one afternoon, people do not curse the interruption. They pull on jackets. They gather outdoor chairs and move them under awnings. The rain taps against rooftops and then fades. Life continues. There is no drama in the adaptation. Only quiet competence. I begin to respect the limits here. Shops close earlier than I expect. Paths are left unlit beyond a certain point. The forest is entered with awareness, not conquest. Even the meditation hall by the water has simple rules posted near the door: leave space between mats, speak softly, take only what you need. These limits feel protective rather than restrictive. They say, you do not have to do everything. They say, it is enough to move carefully. And beneath all of this, I sense a shared agreement among the people here. They have stopped pretending they can carry the entire weight of the world alone. They share what they can. They rest when they must. They allow for the possibility that strength includes knowing when to stop. As the evening light shifts toward gold again, I sit near the shoreline and watch the tide move in. The ocean does not hurry. It does not rush to prove its power. It comes forward in patient increments, then retreats, then returns again. I feel something inside me mirror that rhythm. I do not have to solve everything tonight. I do not have to hold everything together. Like the town itself, I can build calm in small, steady choices. One breath, one step, one gentle release at a time. After several days in Greyhaven Cove, I begin to lose my sense of measurement. Not in a confused way, but in a softened one. Time here does not disappear, it simply loosens its grip. The hours no longer feel like narrow corridors I must hurry through. They widen. They stretch. They breathe. Morning arrives without alarm. I wake because light presses gently against the thin curtains of my cabin, filtering through in pale gold bands. The air inside holds the faint scent of wood warmed by yesterday's sun. For a moment, I lie still and listen. The distant hush of the ocean. A gull calling once, then quiet. The subtle shifting of trees in a mild breeze. I notice that I am not startled awake. There is no immediate inventory of tasks. My mind opens slowly, like a window pushed up inch by inch. I sit up when it feels natural. I dress simply. The fabric of my clothes feels uncomplicated against my skin. Sometimes I step outside barefoot, letting the smooth wood of the porch meet the soles of my feet. It is warm, then cool in the shaded places, and I pause there longer than necessary just to feel the difference. I follow the path toward the cafe most mornings, not because I must, but because the movement itself feels good. The ground is familiar now. I know where the small dip lies, where the pebbles gather near the bend. The air brushes against my cheeks with a softness that suggests the day has nowhere urgent to be. At the cafe, the bell rings quietly as I enter. Lena moves behind the counter with her usual steadiness. She does not ask how I slept unless I volunteer it. She places a cup in front of me with careful hands, and I wrap my fingers around it, absorbing the warmth. Steam rises in delicate spirals. I watch it without thinking about anything else. After breakfast, there is space, not empty space. Not the kind that makes me restless. Living space. Sometimes I walk toward the shoreline and sit on a piece of driftwood worn smooth by years of tide. I watch the water fold in on itself and unfold again. Other times, I turn toward the forest path, where the air cools and the scent of pine deepens. The forest floor muffles my steps, and the filtered light creates shifting patterns that feel almost like breathing shadows. On certain afternoons, I join the small meditation circle in the open hall facing the sea. The door remains wide, letting in salt air and the steady sound of waves. Mats are arranged loosely, with generous space between them. No one instructs me to speak. No one forces eye contact. We sit. We breathe. The quiet is shared but not crowded. The day rolls forward without being divided into urgent segments. I do not check a clock. I measure time instead by the angle of light, by the temperature of the breeze, by the subtle hunger that arrives in my stomach. Afternoon carries a slightly warmer tone. As if the sun is lingering just a little longer before it begins its descent, evening comes gradually. Shadows stretch across the paths, elongating like gentle fingers. Lanterns flicker on one by one, their glow steady and amber. The ocean darkens, shifting from silver gray to a deeper slate. It does not become threatening. It simply grows more private, more introspective. At night, I walk slowly back to my cabin. The air cools around me, brushing against my arms. The forest behind the town settles into deeper quiet, and the town itself seems to exhale. Doors close softly. Voices lower. The buoy bell rings once in the distance, then rests. This is how time passes here, not in deadlines. Not in alarms. Not in the sharp edges of obligation. It passes in breathing, in waking without panic. In walking without destination. In sitting without the need to justify it. In watching the tide repeat its ancient rhythm without demanding that it be different. As I lie down each night, I feel the day settle inside me the way sand settles after a wave recedes. There is no dramatic climax. No sudden transformation. Only a gradual alignment between my inner pace and the pace of this place, and in that alignment, I begin to sense something I had almost forgotten. Time does not have to chase me, it can move beside me instead. As the days continue their quiet turning, it is not the scenery alone that settles me. It is the small human moments that begin to root themselves gently inside my memory. Nothing dramatic happens. No grand revelations unfold. And yet, something subtle deepens. One afternoon, when the air carries a thin thread of fog from the water, I step into the cafe without planning to stay long. Lena looks up briefly, then down again, as if she already understands that I am not there for conversation. She places a cup in front of me without asking what I want. The ceramic is warm against my palms. I lift it and catch the faint scent of ginger and honey. It is exactly what I needed. She does not smile widely. She does not comment on the weather. She simply nods once, a small acknowledgement that I am here and that this is enough. I realize how rare it feels to be known without being examined. Another morning, I find Daniel already seated on his usual bench near the water. The tide is low, exposing darker stones along the shore. I sit beside him, leaving comfortable space between us. We watch the horizon without speaking for a long time. The quiet stretches, but it does not strain. After a while, he says softly, without looking at me, "I used to think I needed to fix my mind." He pauses, as if tasting the truth of the words. Turns out I just needed to stop arguing with it. He returns to watching the water. There is no elaboration. No advice. His sentence lands gently, like a pebble dropped into still water. I feel it ripple outward inside me. Later that week, Mara finds me wandering near a fork in the forest path. The wind has begun to rise slightly, stirring the tops of the trees into a low, constant whisper. She gestures toward a narrower trail I had not noticed before. "This one stays calmer when the wind picks up," she says. Her voice is practical, but something in the phrasing lingers. I follow the path she indicates. It curves more deeply into the shelter of the trees, where the air feels steadier, less restless. I understand that she was speaking about more than weather. In the evenings, I begin to spend longer stretches by the shoreline. As the sun lowers, the water shifts in tone, catching the fading light in softened bands. And there, at the edge where waves meet sand, I notice something delicate, the faintest shimmer. It is not bright. Not theatrical. It does not demand attention. It is simply there, a quiet glow that appears when the light thins and the air cools. I crouch closer one evening, watching carefully. Each small wave carries a trace of it, a brief glimmer that fades as quickly as it arrives. I find myself watching without trying to explain it. I do not search for a scientific reason. I do not reach for metaphor. I simply let the shimmer exist, and slowly, I notice something else. The more I let my thoughts quiet, the more visible it seems. When I stop planning tomorrow, when I stop replaying yesterday, the glow feels clearer, as if my own stillness allows me to see what was already there. It is not magic, it is not a trick of the mind, it feels like a reflection of release. As I sit there, knees drawn close, listening to the steady hush of the tide, I sense a gentle shift inside my chest. The tightness I carried when I first arrived has thinned. Not vanished completely, but softened at the edges. Behind me, lanterns flicker on along the walkway. Their light stretches across the sand in faint, golden threads. The town hums quietly with evening routines. A door closes. A cup is set down. Footsteps pass at an unhurried pace. I remain by the water a little longer. The shimmer continues its quiet rhythm, appearing, fading, returning. It does not cling to permanence. It does not insist on being admired. It simply reflects what is already present, and in that steady, modest glow, I begin to recognize something familiar. The calm I thought I needed to find was never hidden from me. It was waiting for me to stop looking so hard. As the days continue, something in Greyhaven Cove becomes even simpler. Not emptier, not duller, just simpler, in the way a lake looks simpler than a river, because it has stopped rushing to get somewhere else. Fewer new places present themselves. Fewer new details ask to be noticed. The town turns familiar in the best way, like a room I can move through in the dark without bumping into anything. I wake, and I don't immediately search for a reason to be awake. I lie still for a moment, letting the day arrive the way light arrives, quietly, without announcement. My breath feels like it belongs to me again. Inhale, exhale. Nothing to prove with it. When I step outside, the porch boards feel like old friends under my feet. I start to recognize the subtle sounds of the town, a particular hinge that squeaks at a certain house, the soft clink of a spoon against a cup from the cafe, the steady thud of a door closing farther down the walkway. Even the wind has patterns here, changing its tone as it passes between buildings, lowering into a hush when it meets the trees. I follow the same paths, and I stop needing them to lead anywhere special. The curve past the cafe. The bend toward the dock. The narrow trail into the evergreens that Mara showed me, the one that stays calmer when the wind picks up. My body begins to anticipate the shape of the ground before I see it, where the stones gather near the edge, where the soil is softer under the trees, where the sand gives slightly beneath my shoes. The details of the place start to settle into me. The particular scent of cedar near my cabin door. The way lantern light looks when fog moves in, turning every glow into a gentle halo. The color of the ocean when clouds thicken, no longer silver, but a deeper gray that still feels calm, like a blanket pulled higher, and slowly, I stop searching for the point of being here. The point is the being. That truth doesn't arrive as a grand idea. It arrives as a quiet relief. I notice it when I sit on the bench by the water and realize I'm not waiting for anything to change. I'm simply watching. I notice it when I drink tea without multitasking. I notice it when I walk back to my cabin at dusk and feel no urge to hurry, even though night is coming. Night, here, is not something to outrun. The ocean remains steady. The forest remains steady. And gradually, I feel something inside me begin to match that steadiness, as if a part of me has been waiting for permission to become quiet. It isn't that thoughts vanish. They still drift through. But they do not hook me as easily. They pass like seabirds crossing a wide sky, and I do not have to follow them. I find myself pausing more often. Not because I'm indecisive, but because pausing feels natural. I pause to listen to the tide pull back over stones. I pause to watch fog slide between the trees. I pause when I notice the warmth of a mug against my palms, as if warmth itself deserves attention. Even the faint glow along the shoreline feels less surprising now. It belongs to the place the way the tide belongs to the moon. When I see it shimmer at the water's edge, I don't lean forward to inspect it. I simply let it be part of the evening, as ordinary and gentle as lantern light. It feels like something that has always been there, visible mostly to those who slow down enough to notice. One night, I realize I've stopped checking the future in my mind. I've stopped rehearsing conversations that haven't happened. I've stopped measuring myself against invisible standards. I'm not constantly tightening and loosening, like a rope pulled too often. Instead, there is a quiet continuity, morning to afternoon. Afternoon to evening. Evening to night, and somewhere in that continuity, my body learns again what it means to rest while awake. Not collapsing. Not escaping. Just resting, supported by ordinary life, by steady air, by a town that does not demand a sharper version of me. I don't announce this change. I don't celebrate it. I simply notice it the way I notice the tide, returning, and I let that returning be enough. One evening, the sky clears more completely than it has since I arrived. All afternoon. The air has carried a quiet expectancy, as if the horizon has been slowly preparing to open. By the time dusk begins to settle, the clouds thin and drift apart, leaving behind a wide, unbroken expanse above the water. I walk toward the shoreline without thinking about why. The path feels instinctive now. My steps fall into an easy rhythm, unforced and unmeasured. Lanterns along the walkway glow softly behind me, their light warm against the cooling blue of the air. Ahead, the ocean stretches outward in a smooth, darkening plain. The first star appears faintly, almost shy. Then another. They do not burst into brightness. They gather one by one, patient and precise, until the sky feels deeper than it did a moment before. I stand still, letting my eyes adjust. The darkness here does not feel heavy. It feels spacious, the tide moves in its steady cadence. Inhale. Exhale. The sound is so consistent now that it feels like part of my own breathing. I realize I am not separate from it in this moment. I am simply another rhythm inside a larger one. Along the edge where water meets sand, the faint shimmer returns. It glows softly as each small wave arrives and retreats. Under the starlight, it looks even gentler, like a quiet echo of the sky above. I do not kneel to inspect it. I do not try to capture it. I let it appear and disappear on its own terms. Behind me, Greyhaven Cove settles into night. A door slides closed somewhere along the path. A murmur of voices fades. The cafe window darkens as Lena finishes her last task and turns out the lights. The town does not vanish, it simply lowers its volume. I turn back toward my cabin slowly, carrying nothing in my hands. The air has cooled enough to brush lightly against my arms, and I welcome the sensation. It keeps me present. It keeps me aware of the simplicity of this walk, step, breath, step. Inside the cabin, the space greets me without ceremony. The wood walls hold the warmth of the day. A small lamp casts a muted circle of light near the bed. I close the door gently behind me, and the outside world remains close but not pressing. The ocean continues its quiet rhythm beyond the thin walls. I can hear it if I listen, but I do not have to. I sit for a moment at the edge of the bed, noticing the stillness. Nothing demands my attention. Nothing is unfinished in a way that requires urgency. The day has already given what it was meant to give. When I lie down, the mattress receives my weight without resistance.